Truth Frequency Radio Network. K-TFRN. Worldwide.
Hola, this is Sienna inviting you to join me tonight as we navigate through the seen and the unseen, explore external and internal realities, expose on-world and off-world agendas, discover a path to joy and freedom. Now, join me as we illuminate the Shadowland and reclaim our birthright as free and sovereign beings. Good evening, everyone. This is Sienna, and I am so honored and excited to be here with an extraordinary researcher. He's Italian-born, and he is has some extraordinary information in regards to alien interference. And I'm also here with our dear friend and co-host for tonight, Eve Lorgen. Good evening, Eve.
Good evening. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Eve is the one that told me about Corvo. Corvo is an extraordinary researcher, and he has never been, I believe, in a radio show, if that's correct, that is in English. So we are, this is a innovative moment, and I'm very, very excited to have you on the show. Good evening, Corvo.
Good evening. I am very, very glad to be here with you.
It's totally my pleasure. This is going to be a two-part show, 2 hours. This is part one tonight. And the name of this show is Alien Apocalypse. Corvo is a 43-year-old gentleman. He was born and raised in Italy. He has an education in sociology and political science. He's worked for 12 years as a senior architect for a very large corporation in Germany. He has moved to Canada, where he kicked off an Eco Village project. And he is now author of a book that we are hoping these interviews bring forth a translator for in English. And the book is called Apocalyptic, and I'm sure I didn't say that right. So, Corvo, let's dive into this. What motivated you to write this book about the alien apocalypse, and whose work or research connected with some of your ideas and the main themes of the book?
Basically, when I started, I was interested in the theme of religion and how religion is linked to certain ideas. As you said, I am born in Italy. Italy is a very religious place, but religion there is not only, going in the church, but it's also being witness of phenomenon like the apparition of the Holy Virgin, or people at least that are claiming that. When I was 15, I went to Medjugorje in the former Yugoslavia. Also there, they claim that they have an apparition of the Holy Virgin Mary, and she's relieving very interesting messages. So I started to investigate about it, and what I discovered is that the kind of messages that are relieved by so-called entities, celestial entities, are very, very similar to the one that are relieved by so-called ETs or extraterrestrial. And then I started to investigate about the work of other authors like Jacques Vallée. And Jacques Vallée for me was kind of opening of a new world, because he is the first one that proposed the idea of an extra-dimensional origin of those entities. And so my main contribution to that is proposing a theory about where they are coming from, and especially because of, as you said, of my background of political science, my interest is what is the impact on human society of such a presence that is also not only a contemporary presence, but extending itself in the whole history. So this is what motivated me is kind of personal research that now I'm sharing with the public, right now with the Italian-speaking public, and I hope in the near future also in English.
Beautiful. And Evie, feel free to jump in here.
Okay, well, I heard you mention Jacques Vallée, and I read much of Jacques Vallée's work early on, even before I became a researcher in the alien abduction topic. And I think that he was definitely ahead of his time in terms of understanding the nature of these alleged extraterrestrial entities and the encounters, such as the book called Messengers of Deception. That was a really good one. And just the manner in which they come through in channeled messages of, apocalyptic things and similar issues that come in some of the religious visions as well. So I think there's something to that. But one of the things that I want to ask you, Corvo, is how do you perceive aliens, and what is really your definition of what you call an extra-dimensional materialized entity, or a EME?
Sure. So the first thing is try to analyze not how they look like, but basically what they do and what they say. And when you do that, you discover a commonality of the message between all those entities that can present themselves as an elf or gods or ET or demon or whatever. They have an enormous fantasy that I'm very fascinated to. And traditions also explain that they love to fake identity, to invent new stories that they tell to us. But the commonality is the message. So what is the message? The message is basically the relationship between us and them. And the message is they are somehow taking care of us. So it's not a relationship that we have with them that is on the same level, eye to eye, but it's a relationship in which we are subject to them. We don't know what they are really, and we cannot choose the moment where they appear to us and where we initiate communication. So the reason I call them EME, so extra-dimensional materialized entities, is to try to find a new definition that is similar to ET, but is new and diverse, and include also phenomena that typically are not under the loop of typical research, like the apparition of the Holy Mary. That is one of the main argument of my book. I have over 260 cases of apparition, somehow with also phenomenon that we can measure, like the miracle of the sun in Fatima. Most of them, they are only messages, and I try to analyze the messages and understand what they are looking, what is the nature of this relationship.
That's a good,
Let me ask a question here, if I may. So you're saying that some of the traditional Christian and other religious apparitions, like images of Mary that are actually appearing now all over the world, and these kinds of things that we're interpreting as angels or archangels or God or reappearance of Christ, are actually interdimensional messages?
They are interdimensional entities, yes.
Entities.
And yes.
Interdimensional.
So they are beings that are not living in our dimension. They are not even living in our universe. And this is supported by modern physics. So while until 20-25 years ago, the idea of having multiple dimensions was continued to science fiction, today we have a theory that is called the M theory, that is coming from a so-called string theory. And the M theory is a so-called TOE, that is a theory of everything. And basically it's trying to connect the two big legs of modern physics, that is quantum and Einstein physics, so relativity, because the two are not working together. Now, to let the two branches of physics working together, what they need is additional dimension. And not only additional dimension in our universe, but also additional dimension in other universe. At the end, the M theory come out with 11 dimensions, and the last one is the dimension in which universes with 10 dimension float. It's kind of, the water in which islands that are universal islands are floating. Now, what is interesting is that in traditional knowledge like Kabbalah, I am interested in, this is described. So it's described exactly like we have universes made of 10 dimensions that are floating in a 11 dimension, and how they are being like angel, archangel, gods that are living in those older dimensions. And this is what really link modern science and research of ufology, but also, in my opinion, politics, because what we are discussing here is not, only a thing to be freaking off in an horror night during a storm, but it's something that is influencing the history of human beings in the past. And if we pay attention to what they are saying to us, will have an enormous influence in the future, in a very near future, because what they are forecasting for us is not very nice. So those entities are able to appear in any form, because basically they don't have a form in our world, so they use kind of vehicles for that. And this is the reason also of the enormous diversity of what we see and what witnesses report.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying that they are showing us a future that isn't very nice. Can you expound on that a wee bit? Or
Sure. So this is one of the things that almost every author that is discussing the problem, or if you want, the phenomenon of UFO is touching, but nobody is so willing to go very deep because it's so scary. And speaking about research on abduction primarily, but also, standard ufology like the one where the being come down in plain light and speak with some witnesses, and then they fly away. So in all those messages, it's always something very, very catastrophic. It's unclear why at the very beginning, but it's clear that for them it's very important to communicate that. And there's some kind of big mass coming, are different versions of the story. Later on, maybe I will go in deep of the preferred version of the Catholic entities on that.
Oh.
But the message is very clear. The message is we were not here all the time, and now we are going to return. So we are going to have a time of very big challenges for humanity, and a lot of people will die in several catastrophes. And afterwards, we will come and we will establish this kingdom of the 1,000 years. And that sounds very, very near to certain Christian ideas. And this is why those ideas were created by them, directly or indirectly. And so this is why, for example, in North America, it's very common, this idea of the rapture. Okay.
Yes.
And following the work of another author that I estimate is very, very much the late Carla Turner. So Carla was a woman, in my opinion, so important. She was a woman, one of the best in the scene to speak out and see from a woman point of view. And she said, related to this story, that they are trying to use that to achieve certain scopes. Now, my interest is the political aspect of that. So which kind of scope are they going to achieve? What is the reality behind, the propaganda? Because it's clear that a part of the story is a lie. So, it's like playing with the CIA. When the CIA gives you an information, that it's not completely a lie, because if they lie all the time, the information will be non-relevant. So disinformation is always 80% of light, 20% of truth. And now, unfortunately, we have to go inside to understand what is the 20% that could be of interest for that class.
Wow. Yeah, and in fact, there's some apocalyptic predictions going on this moment with the meteor predictions over Puerto Rico and a supposed tsunami supposed to hit the Atlantic coast with the FEMA, preparations for a certain portion of the United States. And this is really going on the conspiracy list right now, but it's supported by a lot of different, people and organizations and groups. As well as aliens and people having visions. So I guess what I'd like to know, do you think this is just part of the same con with what's going on now, or do you feel like something may really happen?
For the reason that you are explaining, I am convinced that something is going to happen. And the reason is, we as a human, we have the ability to catch non-traditional sources of information. So we have also a lot of people that have no direct connection with aliens, so they are not brainwashed or educated by them, that are saying similar things regarding our future with a catastrophe coming. Now, I heard what they say regarding a coming earthquake to the West Coast. I cannot say if that is true, but what I can tell you is what is the main version of the next event that we are going to face. And I collected that based on 10 different cases of people all around the world, people that don't know each other, people that don't have any access to computer or conspiracy information. And they describe more or less the same story. All these people are claiming to see typically the Holy Virgin Mary, but not only. That's the interesting part. So if you start seeing the Holy Virgin Mary, it's very probable that you will see also Jesus and several saints, and maybe even aliens together with Jesus. These are very, very mixed and colorful. But the story is as following. So first of all, and this is what is interesting me, is a conflict that is going on. Okay? So in the Christian sense, it's a conflict between God, the good God, the Tetragrammaton, so the one of the Bible, and the evil one. Afterwards, I will go in detail of that and give some insight. What is my point on it? But it's clear that we do have a conflict, and this is a part that is winning. And the guys that are winning now are the bad guys. And those guys are the guys that are willing to put in place what we call the New World Order, or a version of that. Okay? Yeah. So to do that, this is what the entities say. I am not supporting that. I'm only trying to explain. They will start a big war. So we are speaking about the Third World War. Mm-hmm. And that will be a terrible one, but not so a long one, because the sense of it is not to establish or to destroy each other, but to establish a new world order. That and the main features of that will be that religion will change. So we will have a new world religion. So the Catholic religion will more or less take over all the rest, but in a very mild form. So giving up all the most traditional parts, so to become almost a laik religion, and so a humanistic religion, if you want. And the other part is that we will have a new kind of currency, and this currency will be supported by a technology that look like a chip that is implanted. And by the way, I work in IT, and I know that today we can do it. So it's not any more science fiction. So this is the plan of the evil part. The good guys, or at least the one that say we are the good guys, the counter plan will be to first send what they call a warning. So the warning is a very interesting phenomenon. I will first explain what they say and then what is my take on that. So what they say is suddenly in the sky a second sun will appear, and then something will interact with your planet, and suddenly every human living being on the planet will have a vision of all the errors that we are doing. And
I just wanted to just pose just this question to kind of clarify some points that you made earlier. Is that, let's say, the bad guys basically who want to do the New World Order, and whatever entities are behind them, that they want to institute
when I say that the bad guys, we are speaking about the good guys. So to simplify, but I don't want to give the impression that I support this version of the story. But to simplify, we have the apocalyptic conflict between God and the devil. Okay.
Right.
But to anticipate what I want to conclude on that, basically my take on it is we have several clans, so several groups of extra materialized entities, and this is supported by the literature, supported by the tradition, that those entities are organized in clans, and each of those clans try to fight with another one to achieve superiority.
I see.
And so what is my take on that is we are not speaking about two different kind of entities like good or bad. We are speaking about two parties that are fighting for us because we are aggressors for them.
Yes.
So this is my take on it. And in
figured.
this case, both parties are trying to do some propaganda. And the main difference is which kind of strategy are they using to achieve their own objective. Okay, so one, we know that those parties took also contact with the human organization like the American secret government, but also in my book I rely on the contact with the Vatican. And I can go in deep on that later on. And each group is promising something if the humans are collaborating with them. So somehow it's clear that they need collaboration. But to go on the story, so the warning look like a lot like a near-death experience. So we know that a near-death experience can be provoked by strong magnetic field, and seems that this warning phenomenon is somehow related to a cosmic impact between our sun and another cosmic body, and this one will provoke magnetic waves that will fire off this NDA experience. So as you see, it's a practical explication. And the main interesting thing is the entities themselves say you will find a explication for that. And that is hubris from your side. It's arrogance. And you shall not investigate on that because we are God and you have only to trust us blindly. So we have a lot of sentences.
Hang on. Corvo, let's recap that again. I'm understanding most of what you're saying, and it's great information. But Evie, could you maybe do a little recap of that for those people that maybe
Yeah, I mean, because there's so much information on ideas. What I'm getting is that there are several different clans of EME entities, and then there's those that are, let's say, with human collaboration, the secret government and the New World Order. And then there's the religious warnings, and there's like I guess a warning about some kind of future event that's going to occur as part of the apocalypse. And that the warning is given by these entities in a religious context, but in reality, maybe it's something else. So I'm just trying to figure out what they're saying and how we can perceive this. Like, wasn't the warning part of one of the Fatima prophecies? Or was this something completely different?
The warning, the first time that in the literature the warning come out is another case that was at the beginning of the 1960 in Spain, and also there were a couple of young girls, and they were communicating with Holy Mary, and the Holy Mary released that idea of the warning that
Hey, we're going to have to go to break right now. I'm sorry, Corvo, but we'll come back with that vision and more of this incredible story from a completely unique source, never been on American radio. Stay with us. This is Sienna Leah. You're listening to Illuminating the Shadowland on the Frequency Radio Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Sienna Leah, and I'm here with Eve Lorgen and Corvo, and we are talking about the alien apocalypse. So we were talking about Fatima and the messages from that as relates to the unfoldment of catastrophic events that are being manipulated. Is that correct? These events are being manipulated? Or are they just doing it to scare us? So there's just a lot of questions I have here. Let's go back to Fatima for a moment.
Okay, we were speaking about the warning. The warning is where it was never communicated in Fatima. To give some historical background, Fatima is the beginning of the 1900, and that was in Portugal. Now, the reason why Fatima is so important is because Fatima was one of the last of this kind of events that were supported by the Catholic Church. So, the Catholic Church in events, in previous events like Lourdes or Fatima, was much more open to recognize, okay, those that are appearing there are the really, the Holy Virgin Mary, okay? But now the interesting story of Fatima is as following. In Fatima, 3 so-called secrets were given. 2 of them regarded a almost contemporary situation and regarded the coming Soviet revolution in Russia and the end of the First World War. Then was a 3rd secret, and the entity declared a very, very clear statement saying, I want that this message, the 3rd part of the secret, or 3rd secret, will be released in 1960. That means 50 years, more or less, after the event. Now, think about that. The Catholic Church recognized this, the so-called Mother of God, the Mother of Jesus. She is being with us. She is giving us a direct order. Nevertheless, in 1960, they decided not to release the message. Instead, what happened around this date is that they started the so-called Vatican Council II. That is a council that basically changed the foundation of the Catholic Church itself. So seems that instead of following the direct order of their, superior celestial being, they are going completely the opposite direction. Now, until this point is documented history, and what I collected from other sources is the alternative version of the history, if you want, the conspiracy version, and that claimed that in 1954, President Eisenhower met with aliens. Okay, they met with aliens, and we have several documents and several witnesses supporting that. Now, in short, this year, Richard Dolan had a discussion with an insider that worked on that time directly with for Eisenhower, and it's another confirmation of it. Now, what is not well known in the English-speaking world is that on that occasion, people were so completely shocked by the event that all the possible experts were involved. And one of those experts was the Bishop of Los Angeles, and he was involved as a expert in spiritual matter, because already on that time was clear they are not ET. It's a witness that called their those being ethereal, coming from the ethereal world. It's called Mr. Light. But the bishop promised not to release the information, and because he was an American bishop, the president agreed with him. Okay, you can come and give me some support, spiritual support, but you will not refer to anybody. But when the bishop left, he decided to fly directly to Rome. Now, the consequence of that is that the bishop spoke with the Pope, and that they started what is called the Vatican Secret Service. And we know that because at the beginning of this century, a anonymous insider, a Jesuit, decided to speak with an Italian journalist. It's called Cristoforo Barbato, and he explained all the story that I am telling to you. That basically the Vatican was confronted with the existence of beings, and those beings were trying to have an achievement with the American government. And furthermore, they discovered that sorry?
Corvo, let me just, so what they discovered again, let me make sure we're getting this okay, is that the Vatican, the American government, they were all working with, well, they called them ETs. You say they weren't ETs? What
no,
were they?
They were not, and they were aware they were not ETs. Sorry, because that is the main problem of disclosure. Disclosure will be easy if we will face some ETs, okay? But the issues was regarding the nature of those beings. And they presented themselves. We are not
interdimensional beings. Is that what he's saying, Evie?
So are these the beings you're talking about that met Eisenhower, that the bishop was also aware of and reported back about, that most people are calling ETs or extraterrestrials, but in fact they are something else, one of these extra materialized entities or extra dimensional materialized entities? And
so
were these...
what we know is that they use also biological robots, and the American government, we have some very interesting documents that I analyzed. They are called the Majestic documents, and they were so-called debunked by some people, but other people that I appreciate very much, including Richard Dolan, believe that those documents are authentic, and I believe that too. And inside those documents, we have the definition of IMI, and we have also the definition of EB. EB is the extraterrestrial biological entity.
Yes.
Now, my take on that is that they are using biological entities because they need to interact with all dimensions. And they cannot interact with all dimensions physically if they don't have a body that interact with them. Okay?
I see.
So, and that is confirmed also by a lot of witnesses interact with the so-called gray, but the gray are only, the most common form. So we do have physical, entities that interact with us, but they are kind of only, the clothing, like a spacesuit that other entities are using to interact with all dimensions.
Okay. I want to go back to the bishop, though. There wasn't one of these people in the Vatican personally in contact with these EME entities and had an alliance with them, a particular group that, I don't know, had something to say about changing liturgy rituals in the Vatican?
Sure. So the issue is as following. The story is that the American government, or the secret form of, not the official one, had contact with two factions of entities. The first one said, we want you to do some immediately, and you have to do it because we are angels and we are not very happy with how you are handling your work. And the second faction said, you know what, we can work together and you will get some technology in exchange of silence, so we can work inside the United States of America. You will cover up all traces, everything we do, and you will get something back, and you can also hold your guns. So this is a message that, the military could understand much better. Not that they were somehow very happy with being friend with them, but at least that was something the Latins say, do that. I give you something and I become something back.
Okay, so
And
now
the other
you
one will only have a complete, submission without anything back. Now, the one they decided, the American government decided to do a kind of contract. The literature has a name is called Grenada Treaty. If you want the devil faction, okay, the evil faction,
like the reptilians and the Greys, for example, would that be part of them?
Yes, exactly. And the Vatican decided not to work with them in any case. And for a while, worked with the other faction that will be the divine, celestial, Pleiadian, whatever you want to call it, one, because they were more close to their own ideology. But after a while, they decided to close the collaboration and to go to another, road that is more or less independent.
Why was the collaboration closed, though? I'm curious. Why did they want to stop the collaboration with this other faction of ETs, EMEs that were supposedly more benevolent? What was the reason behind stopping that collaboration with the Vatican and this group?
Because this group is asking complete, submission to anybody.
Okay.
So
who?
The angelic group is asking that we because they are gods, they are angels, and we are nothing. And they go angry. What they are saying, they are very angry right now because we are so bad children or sheep. They call us sheep, and they say they are, the shepherd, and we are very evil sheep, and so they are going to kill us. That's exactly what they are saying.
So they're basically just bossy egomaniacs on another level, just trying to tell us what to do and playing God and playing the good guy at the same time. Is that right? Something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, I am not a guy that, is like to say the Vatican are bad guys, even the American secret government, because I try to figure out what I will do in such a situation, okay? Humans confronted with such a challenge is a terrible thing. And they knew that telling the people the truth will collapse the society as we know, because we need to have the perception of a government that can protect us, for example, because we need to have the perception of a religion and a God that is protecting us, and to have a story where both sides, the so-called good side and the evil side, are both working against our best interest, is nothing the people want to know.
So you're saying that what we call here the false light and the false dark, these interdimensional beings, that none of them have our interest at heart, and they are currently working with the Vatican and the United States government and unfolding this apocalyptic agenda that is coming very soon to a planet near us, right? This is happening now. Is this what you're saying?
I'm saying that we have two main factions that I have identified. The Vatican is not working anymore with the faction that we can call the light or false light faction. As far I understand, the American secret government is still working with the reptilian, gray, evil faction. But again, we should take it very, very careful. They are still working with them, and the two agenda are describing what I call two timelines, okay, two versions of the future. And the version of the future that I was telling before, that include the warning, for example, is the version of the future of the light being, that after this warning and after a more catastrophic event called the 3 days of darkness, claim that it will come down in a spaceship of light and establish a kingdom of 1,000 years where aliens and humans will walk on the planet all happy together. So this is their own version of the story.
Okay.
And a lot of people will be deceived by this because it'll be at a time of so much hardship and catastrophe and collapse on the earth that we will be very hungry for a savior. And so that
that is the point of the subtitle of my book, Will They Save Us? Because most people want to believe that it's somebody that is going to save us, okay? And this is my personal opinion. I mean, I am a father, and I believe that the most important task of a father is to transform my kid in an independent human being, okay? But it's clear that the relationship that we have with this kind of God is a relationship in which we are not supposed to become adults. We are forever, a small kids or sheep, as they call us. And the term sheep is well used because we are a resource for them. So they are using us.
We're a resource for them. Actually, I wanted to ask a little bit about, what you identified as patterns of these extra-dimensional materialized entities, their patterns of behavior and their relationship with humans throughout history and the different historical documents of, the visions and the encounters. What would you say is the pattern of behavior and what they're really after? How could you identify what their relationship to us would be? How would they behave? I mean,
so
what do they want?
First thing that they are asking is to what I can abstract in giving them some energy, and the energy is in two main forms that maybe we can allocate to do faction. So we have, for example, we have the story in the Bible with Cain and Abel. I don't know if that is the correct way. So the first two brothers, okay, and they want to do some sacrifice to God. And we have two kind of sacrifice. We have the one that afterwards become the evil one, that is Cain, because he's a farmer, is sacrifice some vegetables. And Abel, that is supposed to be the good one, kill for keep God happy. And God prefer the one that kills, so prefer, to have living Bane dying for him.
Wow.
Now,
Really?
these two
That's a red
tendencies
flag.
are, please?
Think?
Hello?
It's-
I was going to say that's a
Yes.
red flag for a nasty god if they want somebody to kill an animal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but in general, if you kill or you don't, the commonality across all those gods is they need us to pray. They need us to create temples, rituals in which somehow we pass to them energy. This energy can be passed in a very violent way, like, with sacrifice, but can be also passed with the prayers. That is maybe a milder form, but nevertheless, it's a kind of energy. And now, while also if we are maybe not directly Christians here in this round, but we are for sure influenced as Western by Christian culture. But if you abstract yourself from the Christian story and you look, for example, the Aztec, so in South America, they had a god, which I will not pronounce the name because I have no idea how you will pronounce it in English, and also in Italian I have a problem. But this god has a lot of commonality with the God of the Bible. Okay, so for example, the fact that he was requiring to perform certain kind of rituals, the fact that he asked the Aztec to let their original land and to go in another place, the fact that the Aztecs were eating as holy bread, and that was the bread, the body of God. So we have so many commonalities in two religions that had no cultural contact, that you really wonder if it's a third force, that not a human force in play. And what does human force want to aid? The most important thing is religion, and also culture is only in function of religion, and the core of the religion is the rituals. And that brings us back to the Catholic Church and what
Wait
they
a minute.
did.
Yeah, the rituals.
The rituals.
It's well, what I'm getting here is that they require us to give our attention and awareness, and thus our energy, to help feed them to continue what they're doing. And they do that through rituals that they tell us to do, actually. And I've heard these stories from people like Truman Cash, who had memories of the Ra, Ptah, Akhenaten kind of god, that where they literally told him what rituals to perform and what rituals to teach the people to pay penance to this ET god, so they could feed on the energy. So, I mean, I believe that that's part of it. They're feeding on our awareness and our energy.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating that this is coming from multiple sources around the world, and it isn't just one group of people that are coming out with this. We have about 6 more minutes for this show, and then we're going to have a second show, people, and we're going to dive deeper into the nature of these people, and I would really like to dive deeper into the nature of the vision as it's unfolding right now in our world with these visions, the apocalyptic line. Because you said that there were several timelines. And
yeah, we didn't get to talk about that.
Yeah, that, we have a part to play in this. And that we are not just the innocent victims of these demigods, these psychopaths, the interdimensional, narcissistic,
cosmic
beings.
Narcissists, yeah.
And no, we're not. And by looking at things that are this gruesome and this horrific and this difficult to understand, we create a different possibility, a possibility of recognizing how incredibly powerful we are. They're going through all of this to get hooks into our energy. So let's take we have a couple more minutes. I would like to find out how we can contact you. Now we're trying to get a translator for Corvo. He has done years and years of information. He's got depth of, and I know it's hard for us to understand, but we need to bring these researchers together from around the world, and we need to get this man's work translated into English. So if anyone out there is interested or knows anybody, they should contact you, Evie. Why don't you give your contact information? We're here with Eve Lorgen.
Well, yeah, you can. In fact, I have a written interview with Corvo on my website under the alien abduction topic that you could scroll down. And there is an interview that explains a lot about what we're talking about with more diagrams and things. But, you know, you could also contact me at evelorgen.com. I have a web contact button where you could contact me if you have any questions for Corvo, and then I could forward those to him. If he prefers that, we can do that.
And if anybody is currently wrestling with these kinds of alien interference issues, Eve is an expert in this field. She consults people. She has very in-depth knowledge. She's written 2 books. Can you tell us just a second books, because these are resources. If people are just dipping in here and they haven't heard this information, you're a great vector point to enter this field for them as well.
Yeah, my book is The Love Bite, which is about alien interference in the relationship issue with people who are basically having alien encounters throughout their life. And then the last one's called The Dark Side of Cupid. I just released it in 2012, and that's really how to identify paranormal interference from different kinds of interdimensional entities that are manipulating relationships that may not necessarily be aliens, but have a particular signature that is shown through a type of energy or psychic vampirism. And so that kind of thing plays out a lot. I get a lot of people who have those kinds of reports, and they may not have, the classic alien abduction or encounter, but they certainly are having things that are very similar to what was reported in the Love Bite. So a lot of these things do connect actually to very much of what Corvo is talking about in terms of the true nature of these extra-dimensional materialized entities, which, energy vampirism is a prime thing. So
yeah. And so if any of you are feeling that this may be impacting your life, Eve is an incredible resource for you as well, because a lot of us think we're losing our mind when these things appear, when we're hearing voices, when we sense these synchronicities. And there's a lot of validity to these experiences. They're happening all over the world more and more as these energies are coming out of the shadows into consciousness, because we have a whole other opportunity to create a new template of energy, a new consciousness that includes our awareness of all the dark manipulations. And from this, we claim our sovereignty. We claim our power. We recognize the dimensions that we're existing upon. And instead of being slaves in those dimensions, we turn it around and we go, wait a minute, game over, I'm here. This is my reality. And we do it with love. And we're finding more and more that we release and integrate, we empower these beings, and we help them also to move on. So please, shine your light. Don't live out of fear. And join us next week, because we are going to dive into the alien apocalypse a whole level deeper. Big love to all of you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.